There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of our weekly webinar. Today, we'll have the technical operation side of our HIK-Central professional training for non-CCTV products, non-video products itself. So we're going to go through this. For some, it might be interesting. For others, it will be a little bit of confusing. But we're trying to share as much information as possible and try and help to show and guide a little bit more. So we're going to go and jump into this. And then obviously after the recording, we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. We're going to try and make it as short as possible because, and then obviously we have some nice ones for Q4 that we will be discussing on our weekly webinars. Especially those ones that the guys are asking for. So we'll work on that. All right, moving on. Let's just get into it. Let's hope my PPT doesn't crash. But anyway, because I've got quite a few videos on there. So today we'll be discussing quite a few little options from adding the access control unit, the time and attendance. We'll also go through the visitor management, the video intercom, as well as the walkthrough detectors for the doors and stuff like that. And then the last one will be the reports and the records. So we'll focus on that. Okay. So just starting first of all, we'll start on the access control like I mentioned. So yeah, we'll discuss a little bit of the access control, especially on the attendance. So there's 20 different type of templates for the reports that we can create. Customizing that report itself, making it a bit easier, and then obviously for the visitors as well. So keep that in mind. And then obviously you are familiar with the devices, the models that we'll be using and we'll be discussing, using as a demonstration. But if you guys need to know a bit more about the access control, we do have a little bit of videos for the previous ones. All right. Moving on. So the first one is going to be on the access control to add the device. Secondly, we'll add the person, then the schedule for that type of person, the security level for that person, which doors they're allowed to go in and out, and obviously the report for the real-time history on that. So we do have that little clips, and there's no talking in the clips itself. So I'll be trying to guide and talk, but it's very simple. So if you just follow the video, you'll see how it basically goes, and here and there I'll try and pause it. So this is our HIK-Central professional, as you all are familiar maybe with it, and if you're not, please check the previous videos again. Now we'll go through to the wizard. The wizard will help guide us to be able to do all these little options. So as we get into the wizard, we select which option we want. So now we're going to add those specific devices. I just want to make my little screen here a bit bigger so that I can see a bit more. Right, so giving that a proper name. And it paused, didn't it? It did. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. So now we've added that device, and we have gone through this a few times where we showcase how to add those different devices. There we go. Devices online, and how to activate those devices as well. Okay, so now the device is showing on our list. So now we go to different areas. We select and view the doors. Right, all of them are there. Now we do the time schedule itself. So we have holiday schedules, we got weekly schedules. There's multiple, like I mentioned, up to 20 that you can create. So give it a proper name and select which time periods for which staff members. So maybe one for management, one for HR, one for normal staff, one for the cleaning staff maybe, one for the control room, because they have a day shift and night shift. So it depends on what your application is. If there's specific holidays and you don't want them to come into the office, or you would like to allow them to come into the office, gives you that capability. And then we're going to add that person. So now you can also import that file. We'll go through that as well. If you already have an existing list and you would like to add, but this is the normal way of looking at the different ways that we can add people, and also their security level and which doors they're allowed to have access and which points. All right. So as you can see, we select the person who has that permission level. And remember always to synchronize everything from your HIK-Central to your actual program itself. Make sure that everything is synced, and not just synced to your HIK-Central, but also to your devices. Makes it a bit easier. Now we add the group for that people. So who they have, and then obviously make sure that you name it correct. That one is CEO. Select who those people are that are allowed to. Add them in. Right. Okay. Obviously the time schedule. So troubleshooting if there's any problems, making sure that all of it is working correctly. Okay, real-time monitoring. So now you can test it. The person can go in and out of the building, or at that terminal, or if you're loading their card at your laptop or computer, then you can test it at the same time. Okay. Now we can also do a search comparison to make sure that everything is fine on the history, that everything is showing up, that we know exactly which door they entered, which time schedule they had, and etc. Okay, awesome. Moving on from there, obviously the next one is the ID rules itself for those specific persons. The next one is to be able to add a picture towards their profile. We want to also concentrate on which devices they're allowed to go through. And then obviously if there's maybe a batch of different cards that you would like to add as well. And then the next one will be the template, as well as the printout that we would like for that specific person on that card. Right, managing that person. So these are the following steps that we'll do. As I mentioned on the HIK-Central as well, there is a wizard guide to be able to help you with that as well. So there's our HIK-Central, and it looks so pretty. So first of all, that level rule itself for that ID, we're adding the person on the group, the person information. So their card, their name, if they're male, female, the picture. You can take it by the terminal. Certain terminals allow you, or you can import that as well. Give them a PIN, import that email template that you've created. So it's always nice to have this type of backup, especially when it comes to a big company with multiple different staff members. So this allows us then basically to keep that record, say something does go wrong, or if you do add another terminal, it's easier for you to be able to add that different profiles. There we go. Input the device. There we go. Now we're going to issue out the card. So some terminals have the capability of just taking the card itself and scanning and getting that information. Otherwise, you need a card reader in order to connect to your actual PC, so you can use that as a reader. Most of our, well, basically all of our readers are plug and play, so you don't have to stress too much about that. You can also export that QR code for that specific card. So they can use their QR code from their mobile phone to be able to also access the door. So now if you do have the capability of printing certain cards, you can have that option as well. So you can export it and print it. We do have that functionality and that option as well. So the actual person's card and ID card will show a picture of them with their information, as you can see now. Obviously, we're on version 2.3. So this was just a demonstration on an older version, just to show how that works. Let's move that picture in. All right. Email address, phone number. So you can move it around, makes it a lot easier for any company to make it a bit more personal. Okay, viewing how that would look, the back section. All right. Now we can print it, and it will print it out. I don't know how long the printer takes, but I'm sure it's quick. Okay, here we go. Very straightforward, very easy. All right, moving on from there, the next option is that anti-passback itself. This is a very nice feature because, again, because it's a card system and because it's an ID card, you don't want them to go into the building and then maybe someone else will work with them as a friend in the company, say, listen, hey, buddy, I forgot my card at home. Can I borrow yours to get into the building? Then they pass it through the bathroom window. This will be able to block that completely. So with the anti-passback, we're going to look at that setup. Then we're going to look at what selection doors we are going to make and also the guide location for that. The next one is going to be the rules that we have for that, if they're allowed to enter, exit, whatever the case might be. And then also to have a look at that check report itself, so we can also go through all of that. All right, starting on that one. There we go. Anti-passback. Okay, so again, we're here on HIK-Central. So we select that anti-passback, select the specific doors that you would like. And then we add them in. Once we have added them, we can modify that settings. And remember to upload, if you wanted to, that map as well. So you do have that comfortability of either using a Google map or a normal GIS map itself. Then you can allocate which door and which terminal is where, and we'll show you on the map as well. Swiping at door 1 for entrance, swiping at door 2, entrance, anti-passback. So and the nice thing is you can test that and make sure that everything is correctly. Check the records. And then the route anti-passback as well. So if there's a specific route that they have to follow, you can design that as well. All right, so now they have to go through door number 1, then door number 1. So there's a specific route that they have to follow. So that will give you that guidance. All right. Make sure that you synchronize all of it. Okay, now we're checking it, making sure that everything is correct. There we go. So obviously they are using certain terminals by their desk to do this demonstration. That's why it's a little bit quicker. Normally you have to walk quite a distance. Okay. Here we go. Awesome. All right, next up is to be able to do the authentication with the PIN and all that little setup. Like we've done in the past, we have done this as well to explain this, but we are going to go quickly through that again. All right. Now we go to the personnel. We can enable that. So this is a very nice functionality in order to that if you do have certain staff members at your building, they need to maybe use multiple authentication. So that's from their face to their card to maybe card and PIN. So this will grant you that capability. And we have discussed this in the past, so we're just quickly highlighting this again with a nice little video. So if the guys are on YouTube, you can slow this down and pause so you can go through all of this explanation as well again. Nice thing is all of these little options can be exported and also being imported. The nice reason why we hammer on this is, like I mentioned before, if something goes wrong or maybe there's certain changes, it's easy for any staff members to quickly change something and then upload it straight to the device. If they are adding additional devices or maybe a device got damaged by the cleaners or something, then it gives you that capability of swapping out that device and quickly uploading that information again because you have the records. Okay. There we go. Now we're just checking, making sure that everything is correct. And there we go. Right, moving on. Next up is that emergency one. So a lot of the companies do offer that capability of having two card readers. One will be for normal day-to-day use for going in and out of the building, and one is for like almost like a panic emergency type of card. So if you do get to the building itself and someone is holding you up and say, open up, I want all the snacks in the fridge, then you can use the other card. You open up the door, it will allow you access completely, but it will still send that notification to the emergency company. Let's go through that quickly. And as I mentioned, we have shown this before, but we just want to highlight this again. For this practicality, they are using it also to be able to identify how many people have exited the building in case of emergency. So once you have exited successfully and safely, there's multiple ways that we can do this for emergency purposes as well. So that if everyone is out of the building, it will tell you that only 2 staff members haven't checked out. So then you can try and see where those staff members are. Are they on the 2nd floor, the 4th floor? This morning, I received a video also from one of the guys in our headquarters where a building actually had a small fire, and because they didn't have the correct safety fire protocols in place, there was a very big building fire and it looked really bad on the video, which I could show you guys, but yeah. Okay. And that's the monitoring as well from that personal group for that emergency, for that safety. The nice thing is this can also be integrated for that emergency purpose to release the doors as well through the access control. Keep that in mind. Okay. Next up is basically we're going to do those checkpoints itself, the rules itself for that, the overtime, the multiple different setups itself for that, the shifts, and the records as well. So let's quickly go through that highlight again. Is it playing the video? It is. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So again, the nice thing about HIK-Central is that wizard. So you can go through the wizard. It will guide you just like we are showing. There we go. Adding that access control, we've gone through that. Adding the person, we've gone through that multiple times. There we go. It schedules. So again, guys, this is just to try and highlight all these little features again, and to try and make it a bit easier. So if there is somebody that requires this kind of information and also this kind of guidance, we do offer that and we do have that as well. It's just easier for most people nowadays to, if they need to do something, we all do it. It's not just me, I promise you. We go and Google it, or we YouTube a video to give us instructions what we need to do. I just wish there was one for, you know, instructions of what you need to do when somebody is in a bad mood, especially when you get home and your wife gives you that look. So, joking. Would be nice though. It would be really nice. All right. Okay. Okay. That schedule report itself. Can have it automatically. You can do it manually. It depends on each company. Normally, we just grant that access completely. If it is a smaller company, it just makes life a little bit easier. If there is a staff member that arrives, if you want to know if they are there after hours, you can set that up as well. Scheduling for different shifts, for day shift, night shift, this also makes it a lot easier, because the nice thing is now through the HIK-Central Connect as well, and the Pro Connect, it grants you that permission as a manager, once you have enrolled yourself, to be able to change certain schedules. Because sometimes a lot of staff members will go, oh no, I can't do night shift. I need to go to my auntie's house or something. And then they swap out with another staff member. Then it's very easy and quick for you to do it on your mobile phone from home to change that schedule, so you don't lose that records. Okay, adding that shift. The report, if it's daily or weekly. If there's any overtime. If there is any staff members that work overtime, you can also set up that notification to alert you as well. So now we're just having a look at the overview itself. That's the time schedule. Adding them to that group. And now you have it on your calendar, which makes life a lot easier. Nice thing is you can send this also out from there to your different HIK Connect account holders. So if there is any staff members, they will get that notification as well, with that guide of what their report is for when the shift starts and when the shift ends. If you would like to change the time schedules, here we go. Holiday as well. Keep that in mind. So now you can select that different report itself of that person, and you can export that out. So you can see exactly what has happened, and it just makes it so much easier for HR as well. Okay. There we go. So you do have that option as well for custom reports. So if there's something specific that you are concentrating on, it gives you that capability as well. There we go. Making it easier. All right. Where am I? There we go. Okay, next up is for the visitors itself, to be able to add those levels for the visitors. There is an entire visitor system, and we have gone through this. Like I mentioned, we're just highlighting a few different options to give a proper guide. Oh, PPT, don't get stuck. And there we go. The basic settings, again, that wonderful wizard to help guide you. different point itself. This makes it just so much easier, especially if you do have that QR code that you can send out for your visitors as well. Just makes it look so professional and so neat. If you guys need any more information about that specific subject itself or the devices itself, you can speak to your representative for Hikvision. All right, so we're just going to go through this whole little guide again, just to show that. There we go. Okay, and then it's the visitor check-in and check-out, which we've also highlighted quite a lot recently. I don't know that kind of photo, but anyway, they definitely don't want to put their faces on photos. It's going to look silly though, with a bag in front of it. Go. QR code. Okay. And then the visitor record. So it's always nice to be able to pull that records to be able to see who visited and how long they've been there and which floor they went to. Right. The visitor details as normal. A. And remember also, once your visitor does go through this, you can have that linkage as well for the surveillance. So if you do look at the records itself of when that visitor arrived, you can also have that camera linkage as well to that specific area. So you can see on the video footage as well. Also remember, once you have done all that, to synchronize everything. There we go. Now we selected that door number 1. We'll be able to allow visitors to come in and out if they have that authentication. Group A visitors, there we go. second group, maybe for exit. And there we go. All right, moving on, our video intercom itself, we're going to be quickly highlighting a few of those options again, as we've done in the past. So we're just going to go through all those little settings and configuration, as well as we'll use the following devices as a guide point itself. So if you are not familiar with our video intercom, we do have this in our previous videos. Is it playing? It's not playing. There we go. Play. Okay. So first of all, we're going to add those devices. So let's add it itself, give it a, I would normally go and give it a proper name. Okay, and which locations they fall under and what room they are, so that you can dial that specific room correctly. It's normally a 3-digit. Okay, as you can see, there we go. So they can talk to one another. The master door itself. Now we can see that main door, applying that device to the devices. So now to synchronize everything together, which users are allowed to use that following entrance points for the video intercom. And obviously also the scheduling for the calls itself. For some of you that didn't know, we do have a silence mode as well on the video intercom, especially if you do use it at your premises. This will allow you to also mute it for time periods as well. You can upload also a schedule for that. That do not disturb. Don't want to get that prank calls or the person that arrived at the house at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's not their house, it's your house, it's their house is next door, but they had too much to drink at the pub. So, yeah. Okay. There we go. That's also another option as well, with not just the access control, but also the video intercom to link those specific cameras to that environment. You can also link to specific persons, up to 10 people that can be linked. Right. Also take note that some of our devices do not have the capability of logging in on the video intercom through the web browser. You need the software, either IVMS or HIK-xample, to be able to do that. Also, this can also be notified through our master station as well. From the master station, it can also send out a very similar protocol of message out to all the other indoor stations. There we go. Sorry. Okay. There we go. I was just saying now that for the other person, if it comes to the visitors itself, you can also, instead of adding their own pictures of the visitors, if you don't have it, you can add funny ones. At our branch here, I would prefer taking all that odd facial pictures of all the staff and changing on all the terminals. So when they arrive at the office and they check in, the picture on their profile would look like, you know, something funny. I just think it's pretty cool. Anyway, moving on. The patrol and features itself, we're going to go through that. We have mentioned this in the past as well, as I mentioned. So let's quickly have a look at that guide just again. And I think it's the last one or the second last one, and then we are done. What is our time? Ooh. We also have an entire system now to guide for different point system for like a security guard protocol as well. So that entire system is available. So we go through HIK-Central and also use spatial terminals for that kind of point system. So the nice thing about that is it will grant the control room immediately information if he hasn't done his patrol, or if he's missed a certain environment area that he needed to check up on. Back in the olden days, or still currently now, some people use a tagging system. And what the security guard will do is he'll get a friend and then he'll quickly go do shopping, and the friend will carry on with the tagging system. With the facial terminals, it allows us to be able to use the terminals as their faces, and then they need to do those different patrol points itself. So keep that in mind as well. So for more information about that product, we have done it before. Speak to your representative for Hikvision, the company where you normally get your Hikvision equipment from, if that helps. Okay. We're just highlighting all of these little guides that we have gone through. So we're just pinpointing a little bit more detail. So it makes it a bit easier for any person to be able to go onto YouTube and look at the videos if they need the specific application for them. So this will give them a proper nice little guide showing them step-by-step instructions. So yeah, for me to keep on talking about all of it that we are doing, yeah, it's quite a lot. You can imagine. All right. There we go. The template, schedules. So as you can see, the starting point and then where it needs to go through. And you can also pull in a map of that specific areas. You can also have your different terminals inside, outside as well. So keep that in mind as well. And also a nice little feature is you don't have to add a single patrol point itself. You can also add multiple different ones. So for the first one, he needs to go left from the building, inside the building, then out of the building, and then come through on the right-hand side. Or you can have it where the next one will be from inside to the left-hand side and then to the right-hand side, and vice versa. So there's multiple ways that you can do that. So the patrol, it's not the same the whole time. There are different schedules for that, so you can assign that. And then giving him a rest period as well. Don't be cruel. Right. Different shifts for different patrols. As you can see, from that starting point to the next starting point. And then you can also have a different staff member as a patrol for a different schedule as well, like we mentioned. Okay. Moving on to the last one. Just again, that little additional features from that, including the alarm protocols itself to be able to go through to the call center to say that the person has not finished his patrol. Some companies and some guarding division will look at this, or the security guard will go and say, it's not nice that the company keeps an eye on me the whole time. It's kind of a little bit awkward. there's a different approach to this. Again, the company is not just there to look if you're doing your job. The company is also looking after you from a safety point of view. If you are doing a patrol and someone knocks you over the head and you're on the floor face first and you're busy bleeding out, you would like someone to be notified that you haven't completed your patrol. So this also helps with that, is looking from a positive point and not, even though it's a negative thing that's happening to you, looking at a positive point of view instead of just negative that the company is. Yeah. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Okay, looking at that last one for that alerts itself, to apply that. So let's have a look. Real-time monitoring. So from a control room base, that makes it really nice and easy. So this is on the patrol person's device itself. So you can also see that makes it a bit easier. You can scan. So we do have that options as well as an actual point system. But a lot of the companies now are going towards the facial terminals because it's more accurate, and you can't really jipper it because of the anti-spoofing. You can, however, also put that different time schedules from point A to point B, by the way. So, yeah. There we go. Again, as we mentioned, all of these can be linked as well with certain surveillance cameras in that specific area. So it just makes it easier, and you can also pull in that map so you can have all those checkpoints. So if you get an alert from that checkpoint, you click on it and it will immediately open up the camera footage as well, as you can see, having that linkage. Okay, and if there's something that happens, you can export that report as well. And you can also send it now to multiple different managements as well. You can, however, also put a password protected on it. So there's a specific password that instead of just anybody opening it, just that management can open it. Right. Okay, and then the patrol alarm. Adding that alarm if there's something specific and a specific area for that patrol event. If it was me, I would go and put that up with the IP speaker at the security guard's room itself. So if he doesn't start his patrol, it will warn him with a very nice loud sound. That also helps. Okay, and there's that report with the footage. I don't think they added a camera on that one. Okay. So the normal patrol in the afternoon. And there is that map that I was discussing earlier, so it makes it a bit easier. And the entire report can be exported as well, like we mentioned a few times now. And it's export. And there's multiple ways that we can export that itself. Normally it will just be Excel. I think most people are using that capability. Overall report. Here we go. So thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. For those that this might be useful, I'm happy. For those that was at the point where they're like, yo, sorry, tomorrow we have our AMPR webinar, so we'll discuss a little bit more about the AMPR. We'll go through the first section of that AMPR. This will carry on with the sequence that we had for AMPR from quarter 2 to quarter 3 now. And then obviously in the new quarter, I will make it a bit more exciting on that one. So for those of you who would like to ask any questions, you can stay behind. For those on the YouTube, see you guys next time. Thank you very much for joining.